Hello, welcome back. My name is Coach David Butler, and today we're going to talk about the topic of no huddle offense, and installing, running, and the troubleshooting that comes along with applying such a, a wrinkle to your offense. Um, we did this in 2019, and we're talking exclusively from a UK perspective. I understand that things may differ in the States or in UK, but from a UK perspective at our level, I'm just going to give you my opinion and the thought process and what we did right wrongly during the time. But we installed this in the pre-season of 2019 on the promise of using it in 2020. Sorry, 2019 season. We we ran it in 2019. Good points and bad points we're not trying to get into, but we been a predominant huddle coach that my entire career. We switched back to huddle in 2020 just because of the situation that we had that aspects that I didn't like. So for me, I've tried it. I'm not a big fan of it, but it had its uses, and I'll explain to you why we did it and the thought process behind it, and the results, etc., etc. The first thing is why. Why would you run no huddle? Well, there's two reasons in this case. The team that I stepped into, they had ran no huddle the year before, but the team that was there when I got there was almost a completely different team than the team that was there the years before. So it wasn't necessarily a carryover. It was just a case of that I wanted to try it while I had the opportunity to try it. Okay, we knew coming into the season our issues in terms of personnel. We knew that we'd have no quarterback. We knew that we had to make one and create one. And so in that aspect, our playbook got reduced quite substantially in terms of, especially earlier on in the season, of what we could do, what we could run, and how and when we could run it. So one of the at this point when this happens to any coach there, you're looking for ways to get ahead and equalise and stuff. And I just felt that the no huddle offense and being up tempo would be a great equaliser for not so much a lack of talent but lack of experience. And that's was the forefront in my mind when I installed my version of no huddle. Second point there was that we are a multiple offense, and I came into that season determined to be multiple, even though it was a young group. I wanted to be multiple and give people lots of looks. And my thought process there was lack of reduced playbook combined with multiple offense and tempo. Hopefully, gives us good results because we can shift to different formations, keeping that defense on the back foot, and always trying to have an answer light so we could move from two back to empty to 3-by-1, etc., etc. In a blink of an eye, and our formations also. So we knew that we had quite a few things in our arsenal that if we could run at tempo, sorry, we felt that it was a great equaliser for us and would keep us competitive in football games. And that was one of the obviously one of, if not the main reasons for doing it from my own perspective. Uh, we had less talent, and when I say less talent, I do mean not so much talented athletes. It's that they were inexperienced. We started seven seven guys on offense as a rookie, and at times it was 8 and 9. At times our rookie QB had to come in and play because our converted QB wasn't available, was injured, etc., etc. We had a lack of players and lack of personnel. So we have to find those ways to stay competitive, and that for me, getting my playmakers the ball and us being quick and up tempo and really utilising um, the speed of the no huddle to our advantage against the defense that want to switch up personnel, etc., etc. We try to keep it, as fast as we could. And my intention the early doors was to go as fast as possible, which turned out that wasn't going to be the case. But we knew that we wanted to stay competitive, and when I drew up things on paper pre-season, how do we be competitive? How do we create those equalisers? No huddle was up there, and we decided once the staff meetings began, and we put this out there. We said that this was a great opportunity for us to give this a go. You can see there my last point there on the white is we were rookie heavy, and when we say rookie heavy, that's also a good thing because when you start 7 guys who've never played football before, they don't know anything else. So if all they're learning for the very first time is no huddle, that teaching becomes easy because they don't know anything else. If they're a veteran and they've been in huddles and other situations where they might prefer it over what we're doing now, there may be some gripes, there may be some moans about, oh, why are we now huddling, etc. I like to know the play, verbally from the QB, etc. Those kind of moans. They didn't know anything different. So it was an advantageous situation for us, being that there were lots of rookies. They just soaked up what we told them, and they knew that this was how we're going to do it, and there was no real pressure or uh, grinding back against us as a staff for implementing the system. We just ran it and tried to do the best of our ability. So that rookiness in this aspect became an advantage for us, so to speak, in terms of us getting it in and why we were doing it. So that's the reason why we chose to install no huddle, and I'll show you how we did it. Okay. Now, one of the first things that, and the first thought process that I had in my mind was that we were always going to be a signals team. And I know there's a picture of wristbands and stuff, and you can share things in. I've always been a signals guy, so I knew that we were going to be a signals team from the get-go, regardless of huddle or no huddle. We're going to be a signal team. And one of the first things that I did and we created pre-season of 19 is that we made a video, or I made a video, should I say, and I basically went through every single signal that we were going to use that year, and we put it up on YouTube and Facebook or whatever it was at the time. And our positional coaches also put that video up on there in their individual groups, so every single player got a chance to watch that video of every single signal that we were going to use throughout 2019 as often as they wanted to and as much as they wanted to until they were comfortable. And obviously, everybody's learning time and teaching time differs. Some might get it first go around, some might need to watch it, some might need to do it in person, and so everybody's different, and we get that. But I felt this was a big leg up for us, so that when we got into pre-season, that very first week, and we were installing, most of the guys who were not rookies on that day, who were returning, knew what we were doing and how we were doing it. And then during the indie periods, we would reinforce the signal. So once we broke down into our individuals, if we were running, let's say we were running inside zone that week, okay, we would tell the running backs when we're preparing the drills, we would say we're running Oregon, if it was Oregon, and we just do the O signal. That would have been our signal for the run play, Oregon. So that signal meant inside zone. So then the running backs knew straight away inside zone. Always inside zone. And then the line would get those same rules reinforced to them, and when they're going to their individuals and they're teaching, you know, this is the inside zone, this is the inside zone play call, this is what it looks like. So we would reinforce it in the same with the receivers. They would be running the bubble screens on that aspect of it, and they would also say when you see this out, when you see the out for Oregon, you know that it's inside zone, so you've got to go and run your bubbles and run your screens, and that's how we reinforced it. So they started learning it during individual periods. So when we were teaching the aspect of the run play, we would reinforce what the signal was there and then. Then once we got to on air, we would first of all bring 11 guys up, show them the signal, have them run the play. Then our second group will come in, we show them the signal for the play. So basically, every group that stepped forward saw the signal, knew what they were going to do, and ran the play. This was a little bit time consuming, but we felt that if everybody took a rep or took multiple reps, so they step forward to the line, they see the play caller calling the play, they then digest what that is and run it. And we did this over and over again. So they would come to the line, see the signal, run the play. Come to the line, see the signal, run the play. Very simplistic, nothing earth shattering. But for us, with our one practice a week and our 1 hour session on offense a week, work for us for the most part, we'll say. Always anomalies, but for the most part, Every player got reps. Every group got reps. Everybody saw the signal and began to put the two and two together to give us the result that we needed. Okay. Now, when we got to our first game of the season and when we got in game, I would call the game, but I wouldn't signal the game. So in game, we called the game via our backup QBs and our receiver coach, etc., etc., or our O-line coach or our running back coach. Whoever we decided on the day was going to signal, they would signal and get the plays via me, and then we'd have a dummy signaler making up whatever he wanted to on the fair moment, as long as it was in within our signal terminology. And that's how we did that. And we felt that we went into the preseason pretty much ticking over. There was times where it purred. There were times where we struggled, and then we got through the season. And then when we got to the end of the season, and during the course of the season, holes appeared, problems appeared, lack of time appeared, and struggles appeared. So it wasn't all smooth sailing. It wasn't always how I liked it. And the main part of it was the inconsistency. And that inconsistency could come from players not being at practice, players not being at games. So when they get to a practice, when they get to a game, they may stop forgetting what the signal is. It happens, but those kind of brain farts, so to speak, usually end up costing you as an offense, whether it's a down or it's something bigger. So that was one of the biggest problems was that the inconsistencies that we came up with during the course of the season was one of the biggest problems. The second part was our O-line issues, and from day one until the end of the season, our main issue on running no huddle was our offensive line. Every time we called the play in, they would hesitate. So our receivers would get it, our QB would get it, our running back would get it, but our offensive line always we're checking back to the sideline. What's the call? What's the call? What's the call? Even though everybody else was getting it, and we were giving them the call several times. In the end, it was slowing us down even more so. So that started to be a huge factor in us trying to keep pace, because when it worked really well, and when it didn't work, it was really, really sloppy, and at times we looked really, really sloppy. And I can't emphasize what's happening right now in terms of being consistent was the most important thing for me in terms of running the no huddle offense. Okay, and the third point there, which coincides with the first two, is UK referees, and that's not a slight on the UK referees, but we have no time clocks, we have no clocks of any description. So everything's based on the speed of the referees. So if we tell them we're no huddle and we're up tempo, we can only go as fast as the referees go. And we might have a 2-man crew, a 3-man crew, if we're lucky. So we can only go at the speed they go. So the referees would slow us down. So while we're trying to be as fast as we possibly could, and we're trying to go like supersonic tempo at times, it would still come back to we go as fast as the referees would allow us to go. And then we'd have our outline issues. And then there'd be inconsistencies with either the QB not getting the call right, or receiver misreading the call. He's thinking it's something else, or the usual things that happen when you only practice one time a week, and if you're in season, sometimes no times a week. And our midweek game plan sessions were not always greatly attended. That's not on anybody's head. That's just us as a team. We didn't, there are issues that we have to overcome all the time, and that's a UK thing. So those three anomalies there, for me, left a sour taste in my mouth. And so when we returned to pre-season in 2020, I reverted back to being a huddle team, just because I like the fact that I got the eye-to-eye contact with the quarterback. I signaled to him, and that's it. He has to know the play, I have to know the play, and then he's verbal with it. And then I found that for us, and that in line with those three issues right there, work best for me and only me alone. Again, as I always say on this channel, I only can give you my truth, and in this case, it's not always going to be a play X and O's. There's lots of aspects to what we do in the UK game. Is people might want to know, do we run no huddle? What's it like? Is it successful? Etc. Etc. And like I say, hand on heart, it was okay. We ran it for a full season. We didn't have no major problems, but it wasn't what I expected it to be. It wasn't as overpowering or as energizing as I thought it was going to be. And you could say, and I'll take blame for a lot of that, because it started and ends with me at the end of the day. But I know that for me, it was a bit of a situation. Um, the final point there is, would I go back to it? And if I did, what would I change? And the answer to that is yes, I would do it again. I would go back to a no huddle offense, but I would probably do it if with two aspects to it. I'd want a little bit more seasoned guys, so they're not just rookies in terms of running the plays or knowing the playbook. So if we would knew the playbook and then added that no huddle, it might be a great addition. And secondly, I would get my own line coach signal to the line separately, in whatever format we came up with during that preseason, whether it be numbers or signals or cards or whatever. But I would get our O line coach to signal the O line completely separately, and have them not looking at me for that whole play and just looking at their O line coach for their responsibility on that play. And that was the biggest factor that I took away. And I thought about bringing it back in 2020, but on the flip side of the coin, I decided that no, I'm going to go back to huddle because it's what I know, and it's a trusted format for me, and that was the plan for 2020. Obviously, 2020 didn't go ahead because of COVID, and I know 2021 people are trying to get back into it now. But obviously, that was our approach, and that was my one season running no huddle, and the results and the problems that I got with it. And that's pretty much it, guys. As I've quickly started, we try and cover all aspects of coaching. It's not just going to be a play. It's not always going to be a wrinkle. There's many aspects to it, and we do stuff on it on a regular practice day. We've done stuff on install plans and stuff. So again, if you are a young coach looking, especially a young UK coach, it might be different for the American guys. They get more time than we do. But if you're a young European or UK coach, know the pitfalls. Understand that you can watch those videos on YouTube, from great videos on YouTube from the American guys. They're talking about going no huddle. It's a little bit different when we only practice once a week, and we have to take that into account of what we can do and the amount of information digested and the amount of stuff that we can do on a week-to-week basis. Again, I appreciate everybody coming on and taking a watch. It's always welcome, and I enjoy creating these things for you. So again, it's been a pleasure, and I'll see you all very soon. So take care.